Hey, storyteller, storytelling Ron. I want to talk to you about a role-playing aspect of For the Lord RPG. In For the Lord RPG, there's a lot of blessing and inspired die, which is like inspiration points, but it gives each character can give the other character inspired die or blessings. You know, the clergy can bless you, heal you, give you protection in combat in an encounter. And then when you're doing normal stuff too, when you're doing normal skills, the clergy can give you blessings and prayer to give you extra die ranks for your role. And just so you know, in case you're new to this, die ranks is D4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 die ranks, right? D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. So that's what die ranks are. So when I'm swinging a sword, I roll a D20, so you can get your nat 20 and all that, and then you add your trait, which is your ability score, which is prowess, to the sword. But you also have die ranks, and that represents your skill. So I've bought 2 die ranks, with glory points. 1 glory point for the first die rank, and then 2 glory points for the second die rank. So now I have 2 die ranks in my sword, so I have a D6. So what I love about that is that instead of it being a constant number that you upgrade your sword attack, it's a range. So it's going to keep rolling that way, and even as you get better, there's still a possibility of rolling a 1, and there's still a possibility of you failing even as you have done 40 episodes. You still don't have superpowers or anything. You still have this range that you have to roll, to get to that bonus. I mean, it gets better, but it's still a range, and I like that because I do medieval armor combat, and as much as experienced as I am in doing it, I sense there's a range because you new guys are just as threatening as I know the veterans are very threatening in a game. Like I got to deal with them, but new guys can come in and do something epic and heroic as well. In what I'm dealing with, so I really like the die ranks because it gives you this range of possibilities as a new player and then as a veteran, especially keeping you humble. And things combine, right? You don't add if someone blesses you with 1 die rank, you don't get a D4, right? And then your own die ranks, you combine it. So you're building up those die ranks. Then what I love about that too is, you don't throw in a bunch of dice and then add all these dice together and it becomes super powerful, super quick. It's one linear, progression of upgrades with all the things that are given to you as factors in your role. So if I'm doing a sword swing and a clergy gives me, blesses me with a die rank, it combines with my skill. It doesn't add another dice, right? It combines and goes up in that. And obviously you can go above 5 die ranks, right? You can go past D12. So if you do that, you start over with D4 again and you build that up and it becomes a dice pool. So yes, you do have extra dice then, but you pick the highest. You roll the group, pick the highest. So if I got 17 die ranks and I'm just swinging my sword, the clergy's blessing me, I've got some inspired die, whatever it is, the creature is injured, I get they have a grievous wound, or the opponent, I get so the GM transfers the wounded penalty dice to me, so I can take those if I request them. And whatever else is the factor, 17 die ranks divided by 5, just divided by 5, so that's 3, remainder 2. Now 17 is pretty rare, it's usually like 7. It's usually between 5 and 7. So some of the players that are experienced will get those kind of inspired die ranks. But if it's 17 divided by 5, and you get 3d12s and a d2, right? Or sorry, 3d12s and 2 left over is a d6. So then you roll and you keep the highest. Now I do have an optional thing where if they roll 2 7s in that dice pool, 7s or higher, they get to explode the die. For combat, it doesn't really matter because once you hit the number you need to hit, then that's it. I don't do extra for super high number. So that doesn't really that doesn't it's fine, but it doesn't really matter. It does matter. Like if you rolled a nat 1, you could still hit them, and that's fine too. And that's a wonderful thing about this too is when you roll a nat 1, and you explode the dice. Oh, actually, I take that back. If you roll a nat 1 and you explode the dice, or you roll a 7 or above in your dice pool or in your in that dice, that negates the nat 1. So that's really cool. So it means that as you get more and more sort of experience or more and more whatever die ranks and advantages, you can counter your little fumbles and stuff. Whoop, 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 I just almost slipped, but you didn't. Also, a fun thing is that if in those dice pools, if you roll 2 1s in there, which I've never caught anyone doing, or I just kind of forget to use it, if you roll 2 1s, you get a fumble, but you can still succeed at the attack or whatever it is you're doing. So that's kind of fun too. That's a reality too. You can certainly succeed at something and then hit yourself or fall or whatever. And that's in part of this game too. Although I don't recall ever implementing it. I'm sure double ones have happened in the dice pools. I just forgot to enforce that rule. So that's how the die ranks work. Now the point of this video is actually that I noticed a lot of the players, or I realized, and this is me, and I've been trying to implement it, but I never really clarified it with them, is that you should, I'm going to actually switch over to this just for a visual fun representation here. This is the little dungeon crawl they're doing, like a mini shot one. Just to show you this. So if this is really a bad one to put on. Sadly, there's a little witch in here burnt that they threw a holy hand grenade on and instantly vaporized her. And now they're just looting the place. Here I am doing a Christian role-playing game, trying to show you guys how nice Christians are, and this is the scene I'm showing. This is the last thing that happened in the last game. So, whew. So yeah, I guess we're Christian nationalists or something. I don't know. Anyway, but she was trying to curse them. So, and she did send her warriors after them to kill them. So there's that. That they're never going to tell you that part in the news. In the mainstream media. That happened first. So. Anyway, and of course, he threw it out of desperation to stop her from cursing him. Of course, he didn't realize that that's all she had. Now she was ready to be converted. I thought they were going to convert her, and then he just throws a holy hand grenade. Okay, let's get over that. Okay. But that's historical, man. That's historical. Christians make mistakes. They do, but their intent is good. I mean, we're all sinners, but anyway. So why am I even showing you this? Because we're having fun and we're doing a role-playing game, and this is like a dungeon crawl. It's really cool. Beasts over there, offerings, evil spirits. That's something info they gathered out of the loot over there somewhere. Okay, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So the characters can do inspire die. Let me grab a couple of these troll dudes over here. I don't want to do that. I like leaving the corpses and body parts where they are. Let me just explain it. So when characters give inspired die or blessings to another character, for their die ranks, to add to their rolls, to hit or whatever, the thing we're missing, and this is sort of on me, epoxy on me, and I try to do it myself. Like I bless you, I heal you, but I really got to make it clear to them. And when you guys do a game, try to make them realize that when you work out, and there is kind of a part of this game, just like me stopping going right now, is about figuring out those die ranks, right? Figuring out the blessing, figuring out the inspired die to give to somebody. So it does kind of slow the game down a little. I'm a little, is that a bad design thing? But the reason I do like it is because everyone is now involved with each other in their thing. And there's a game mechanic behind it, so it's not just make-believe. You have to follow a game mechanic. A lot of these simpler role-playing games today are very like, you think you're free in them, but you're really just told that you can only do certain things, and you can't be creative in all the other things you do because it's just make-believe, and you're not following any kind of rules or game mechanics. So if you're not following game mechanics, then you're just sitting around just making stuff up. Whereas in this, there's game mechanics that give you all these different options you can do then, and you got to figure out how to use those use those game mechanics to then create different things that you can do. And there's a die roll, and there's a result roll, and there's an action and effect afterwards that even the GM doesn't control. Okay, so and because of the die ranks, there's a wonderful thing that they just continually can play the same characters for a long time. They don't have to cap it or stop at 10th level or whatever, and it doesn't become unwieldy either. That's what I've noticed. the players that have played in 40 episodes, more than 40, 60 episodes, and then the new players that come in can fit right in. The experienced players have a little more averaging successes, but they're still in the fight and still threatened by whatever's happening, right? It's not like an overpowering superhero or anything. So when they give each other inspire die or blessings or even aid, the things that's missing is that they don't role play it out. They think of the mechanics. I'm going to give you I'm going to aid you, and I've encouraged, like, it was funny. They're looting. To them is Enzo says, I'm not looting, I'm researching, and they're all the loot of the pagan tribe here, and and it does give them rewards when they do that, because they will find pagan idols and throw those in the fire, or they will find Christian stuff stolen that they can return to the church, or they will find supplies that they need, or they will find gold that they can then finance the church or their mission. But you can do like a quick aid on them, right? So the nun, it was funny. The nun kept, I'm gonna aid him, I'm gonna aid him, I'm gonna aid him, while they're all searching. And I said, what does that look like when you do that? And as a GM, I tend to over describe what they do, which is not good. They should do that themselves. You could help do that for beginners to encourage them and give them examples. But these are all kind of veteran-y players, I think. So, but I said to her, what does that look like when you aid him? What do you role play that out? Point at this, I'm pointing at that. So I got to encourage them to more role play when they do give their inspired die or blessings or aid to the other players. So when a character says, I'm going to give him 3 inspired die, what does that look like? What do you mean by, how does that work when you give him those? Well, you could do it, Arthur, you can search, and I'm really, I hope you find some good stuff, and look, don't forget to look over here, and here's, we really, I'm hoping, like that, role play it out, make up something, just to give them like get into the story. And if they bless, like if the clergy blesses one of them, I'm going to bless everyone here to find things, right? Which you can do. You can do deluge to the clergy to say they give 1 faith point, they spend on deluge, which is how many will be affected. They roll a d4. That's a 1 die rank, d4, 1 faith point. So they roll a d4. Let's say they roll 4 and get all 4, or whatever, how many ever. And then they roll, and then they're going to give 2 die ranks to the blessing. So that's 2 die ranks to whatever their die ranks are for their searching and stuff. So what does that look like? Everyone here, I bless you that we will find artifacts from the church. I bless you. I want them to role play that out. So I'm definitely going to push that, because that's a really cool part of the game, I think, that I'm even missing, is that they need to role play out these when they give each other die ranks, whether it's through blessings, inspired die, aid, or they can even do it through their skills. There's an aid that's basically 1 die rank, but you can have an aid skill. And what does that mean? It means as you get better and better, you roll it, and whatever you get above a 12, you can then aid with that amount. So let's say you roll your aid skill, that takes up a maneuver, by the way, like if you were in combat, or if you were doing something physical or whatever. But let's just say they roll an 18 total with their aid skill, and it has to be the skill really depends on, it has to be either in a broad area of the they got to use the trait that is most in that realm. So let's say Sister Maria wants to aid them in finding things, so she's got to use her aware trait plus, let's say she has aid skill, not just a regular aid but an aid skill. So she can roll using her aware and her aid skill, and let's say she rolled a total of 18, and she's going to, so 18 above a 12 is 6, half that is 3. She gives them 3 die ranks now. So she's actually really good at helping them find things and do things. So it's a skill she learned, like she really studied that. So that's a die rank result. A die rank result is another wonderful thing I like about being able to give people die ranks. You can use die rank results to do all kinds of things: prayer, healing, repair, aid skill, research skill, like research aid skill, all kinds of, you can make up whatever cool thing you want, and that die rank result will then give somebody, or whatever the effect is you want, a final roll. So if you do a die rank result for healing, you want to heal someone, and bandages and medical supplies, and you get like a first aid kit that gives you 4 die ranks, and your skill is 4 die ranks, whatever. And you roll, let's say you roll a 21, right? And the heal is, I will do a 12 normally just because that's quick and easy. But if they're really hurt, I might even add some die ranks to that. Like say they're hurt 8, they took 8 hit points of damage for vitality. So I'm gonna say 8, half of that's 4. I'm gonna roll. I could do this if I want to be tricky. I don't have to, but as a GM, I have this call. So I said 4 die ranks, so 5. So I add a 5 to the 12. The 12 is the normal default to do things or to accomplish things, or direct result, number. But a 5 with a 12 is a 17. So you get so now whoever's healing has to get above a 17 to then determine their die rank result. So let's say they roll a 27. I'm just going to use simple math here. 27. So they're wow, they're all screaming. Did a really good roll. Wow. So this person's really exhausted. They're they took 8 hit points. They're really beat down, but you rolled really high. You got you bandaged them up. You encouraged them. So you gave them 5 die ranks of healing. So roll 5. A 27 above a 17 is 10, right? So half of that is 5. That's 5 die ranks. That's the die rank result. So 5 die ranks is she gets to roll a D10, or sorry, D12. D12 is 5 die ranks. And then she rolls, let's say, 4. So she got 4. She bandaged them up, healed them up 4. So yeah, it does come, the die rank results can be a roll from that, or it could be literally die ranks translating to the die ranks. Like if there was grievous wounds. Let's say the same numbers, he had grievous wounds, he had 4 grievous wounds. If she got 5 die ranks, she would actually heal him 5 die ranks of grievous wounds. Oh, that's miracle of healing, by the way. That's not, she can't do that with a surgery thing, or with a with a regular healing. Miracle of healing can do that with grievous wounds. Yeah, this is that's how die ranks work. How helping other people with die ranks, using die ranks to heal or pray or whatever, and die rank results. It sounds kind of complicated, but it's really fun, and I don't need to look up any tables or anything. I don't need to go like look in the book for how this works or how that works. I just do the die rank thing. I do the die rank and the die rank result thing, and that's it. And it's all based on the descriptive factors of what's in front of me, and that's kind of what I love about that too. Once you kind of understand the die ranks, die rank results, all you got to do is look at the world, or what their condition is, how hurt they are, or what grievous wounds they have. To determine the die ranks. And by the way, grievous wounds is very serious. So if someone is 5 grievous wounds, that's near death, because if you go to 6, you die. If you have taken 5 grievous wounds, and that's usually through a nat 20, damage. 5 grievous wounds is a D12, right? So I would make it a 12 automatically for difficulty. So the default is 12, and then the 12 for the grievous wounds, that's 24. You got to get above 24 to do any kind of mending on that grievous wound. That grievous wound is a big, sword gash, broken bone, whatever it is. So you gotta get above a 24, result to help them. So you need, like, just to go down from a 5 to a 4 grievous wound, you would need a 26, right? Because 24 above 20, 6 is 2. Half of that is one die rank. So 1 die rank reduction. So in other words, like if someone is doing a surgery type thing, and I'm going to say it's going to take him an hour or two, too. I'm just, just in the story. They're literally like patching it up, but he's still at 4 die rank, still in, still at -4 die ranks. And what does that mean, too? Just to go in that rules. It means that I, as a GM, can take 4 die ranks or D10, and I can add it on my end to anything, like the defense of a opponent, whatever I want. If that person is trying to climb or whatever, they don't have to put it in their penalty of their rolls. I, as a GM, can take that penalty of theirs and use it any way I want, once per turn against them. So that's a nice way of making it easy on them, that they don't have to figure that out. Their penalties. Anytime there's a penalty on the players, the GM can take that, whenever, once per turn, but whenever, to use it against them until they heal it up. So again, I'm gonna, from now on in the GM, I feel like the playtest phase is over. I've really loving this, really loving the way it's working, and so I'm going to encourage them to act out those die ranks as they toss die ranks around to each other and help each other out in the story. So I really enjoy that. I enjoy they're doing it and the thought process, but I want them to hurry it up. That's definitely one thing. Get hurry it up. If it's too confusing, I definitely want to don't think so hard on it and to slow the game down. If it's too confusing, then skip it, because it's you could your player just couldn't think hard enough to help. I definitely am going to do that kind of thing as well, but I'm also going to encourage them to describe what that looks like when they give them those, so that they're, because it's missionaries, helping each other. It's when I'm around other Christians, it's a little goofy that how they all I'm kind of a black sheep, but how Christians pray for each other, we encourage each other, we help each other, and that's what this is all about too. And I want them to role play that out too, like role play out that whole charismatic kind of outward display of affection and courage and fellowship in these adventures. Okay, that's my little thing here on a Saturday morning. All right, and in this for the Lord RPG and in real life, in the real game of life, let's roll holy dice.